Take a second. Oh, George is at the drums. Oh my God. I just made the, oh, here we go. All right, we are. All right, sorry about that. We're streaming on YouTube. Let me unpause our recording. So loud. And I'm gonna let Georgia come in on her own time because it looks like she's got things there. Anyway, so welcome everybody. I'll start in a moment. I just want to welcome you all to the second longest night of the year for you joining us in the Northern Hemisphere, but I know we have some in the Southern Hemisphere, so welcome to the second longest day of the year. How nice that must feel. All right, I'm going to share my screen, y'all. I think I've got that set up, and then we'll get started. Yeah, give me 1 second. All right, we'll share my screen. So, welcome everybody. It's according to my clock and the eastern part of the United States, it's 7:01 on December 22nd, the heart of winter. It's the We Believe in Comics Friday Night Workshops. Welcome, everybody. You're at Sequential Artists Workshop. We are a nonprofit school dedicated to making people into cartoonists and graphic novelists. You can find more at learn.sawcomics.org. We have lots of courses coming up and things like that, including some courses starting in the winter, memoir intensive, some nonfiction, Procreate, publishing, and things like that. Next week in this slot, we will have a live reading with 7 or 8 of our community members. It's going to be really exciting. They've been rehearsing, and it's going to be a really great show, coordinated by Michael Ashner. And I don't know if Michael's here, but if he is, we'll have him give a talk about it. Beth's course is a 3-month deep dive into memoir. Jess Relifson's course is a quick and dirty look at getting into nonfiction comics. And Elise will be talking and teaching about drawing and Procreate, specifically drawing for comics. Meanwhile, if you haven't been to Seesaw Comics, we'd love to see you there. We've got a lot of our community members and faculty updating there. Meanwhile, SAW survives from tuitions and donations, so thank you. Thanks for donating to this workshop. If you did so, that helps keep these workshops free. It helps us pay the instructors. We appreciate that. And you can support us lots of ways. I'll put it in the chat. You can do it through PayPal and Patreon. Lots of other ways. You can become a sustaining donor, which is a way to donate monthly. It helps keep the lights on and things like that. So anyway, so we'll get started. No inappropriate speech or imagery, please. Let's keep it PG-13 on this winter night. And share what you do in the on social media, hashtag Friday Night Comics, and you can tag us at Comics Workshop, and I'll put George's tag in the chat. It's GEE_Weber. And you can come to the members.sawcomics.org website and find us there as well. Enjoy. George is going to talk to us tonight about connecting the unconnected. And I don't know what that has to do with the drums, but I'm really interested. So, Georgia, I'm going to spotlight you, your spotlight lit, and anything else you need, let me know. Okay?
Oh, oh, hi. Hang on. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, good. I'm gonna turn up the sound there too. I was trying to figure out if I had to have my phone in the meeting and talk into it or how far I could be away from you guys. But yeah, Tom, I'm good sound-wise. You can hear me okay?
Totally. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, freaking devices these days, they can do everything. Anyway, hi guys. Yeah, I'm coming to you from the drum kit tonight because Tom asked me, I don't know, 3 months ago if I wanted to do another one of these. Or actually, I think what I said was I wanted to do another one of these Friday night workshops, and he was like, "Are you going to do it from the drum kit?" And I was like, "Okay." if you want. If that's what you want me to do, I will. I'll figure it out. I also didn't realize until sitting down here that my jumpsuit really matches the wood of my cabin, and I didn't intend to be camouflage in this space. But yeah, you may or may not know who I am from work that I've done, like the books Dumb and Drawing the Inside Out, or sorry, Drawing Dancing After 10, and my teaching work, which is called Drawing the Inside Out. Everything that I do starts with a D, so it's like impossible to keep it all straight. Don't worry, there's a new project that doesn't start with the letter D, so hopefully that will really like stand out when I'm talking about it in the future. But yeah, I'm a comics artist and teacher of comics, and also very concerned with, very enamored with the crossover between health and comics. And that's not really what this is about, but it kind of is. What we're doing today is figuring out how to connect the unconnected, because I feel like so many of the things that I end up talking to people about in my classes is like, hey, do you see the connection between these things? And they're like, no, show me. And then I show them and they're like, oh, of course, yes, of course I see it. But I really think we each have those things ourselves in our own very unique connections. So I'm just going to throw you into some stuff that might seem weird, but that's the whole point. Like, it might seem disconnected from comics entirely, but that's what we're working on. We're flexing a couple of muscles here that we definitely can use in our comics. So just trust me, right? I guess that's what I'm saying. Just trust me.
We got it.
First things first, I'm going to just make a little sound. I'm going to try to not be too loud because I'm not trying to blast anyone's ears, but I want you to know that these drums, I am going to touch them. I'm not going to like wail on them, but I'm going to touch them. I'm going to make them speak to you. And I'm going to ask you to notice what is different about each sound and give yourself a way to record that. So you could be making notes, you could be doing just little drawings. You're basically keep your hand moving on the page while you try and tell me or tell yourself, record however you want, what is different about each of the sounds that I make. And I'm only going to make them for like maybe 30 seconds each. So you're going to have to hone in on the sound itself and capture it such that you can move to the next one and not forget what the first one was, okay? You don't know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's just do it anyway.
Sounds great.
Okay, great. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds of this sound. You hear it?
Yes and no.
Some people are saying yes, some people are saying no.
Zoom has a way of wanting to sort of push the things like that out. So we're hearing like the high notes.
Okay, so I mean, I need to make it more of an event rather than a background sound, because that's, I think, that's what sound that's doing. So if I do like,
yeah, I mean, it's filtered through, you know, digitally and Zoom and stuff, but it's okay.
you know what though? That's fine. Like, you don't have to hear what this sounds like to me. You just have to identify how it sounds to you. And if it sounds weird digitally, write it down. Okay? I'm gonna give you a couple more just so you can like see what you get. How would you describe it? That's your job. Okay. I'm gonna give you another one.
Sure.
Once again, I'm just gonna say, describe it to yourself. Notice what it is. And if you want to make any notes about comparing the two, how different they are, please do that. Drawings, notes, words, whatever. Okay, next sound, we'll see how we get. Big hit. No idea what this sounds like to you. I kind of love it. I'm gonna watch this recording later to be like, what were they getting? Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to write down or notice or record.
Somebody in the chat wrote down raccoons in the trash.
It's pretty good. Okay.
On
Do another one.
Oh, you might have to change your Zoom settings for that one, Georgia.
Interesting.
For real. Like, yeah, Megan says she didn't hear anything. I didn't either. So Zoom, if you go to audio settings, do you want to try or do you want to leave it as is?
Yeah. Well, so you hear nothing when I hit these.
That was almost nothing. No, that I heard. That I hear. But for some
Okay.
reason, that roll with the, yeah. No, yes, no.
That's amazing. Yeah, let's see. Well, you were describing the other ones. Let me see if I can change my audio real quick while we're here.
Somebody might remember this better than I do, but I know there's a background noise suppression, and but I don't know. I think low is what you want.
Definitely. Yeah. I
So
don't know
just
if I can do that from here while I'm in this meeting. So that's okay. Let's pivot.
yeah, no, we can work with this.
I also want to note because you said like you're not getting any low end sound.
No, we hear that. That's great.
You hear that one?
Yeah.
So bizarre.
It's really cool. Should we do that for sound 3?
Definitely.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you just record that however you want. Sorry, didn't mean to scare anybody. I just started to feel like playing computer meltdown and seeing the chat. Yeah. Could sound like that.
Okay, we doing sound 4?
I don't know if I can if I don't have these guys, but there was only ever going to be 4, so we missed out on our sort of like mid-range.
It was more like that we hear. It was more like when it was really, yeah, it's strange.
Well,
No?
if you can hear this, let this be your 4th sound, and I'll
Okay.
just do it a little bit,
Okay.
hoping it gets through.
Okay.
I love this. You're just recording whatever you notice. How they sound different from each other, even through the computer. Here's the question that I have for you that I think you can probably answer quite instinctually. But if you were to hear each of these sounds unconnected to each other, like if you heard this crashing cymbal while you were walking down the street, if you heard the bass drum, I don't know, like while you were lying in bed at night, if you heard the snare, it's like, you heard some of that, either the computer sound or what you know a snare drum to sound like, outside of the context of listening to music. Is there anything about these sounds that would feel connected to you just in what you heard today? Like, this high crash, the ringing of it, this like snappy, tight, high pitched hit of a sound, and this low, thunderous, almost soft sound of the bass drum. The way the tom is like that, but higher, and maybe has some tones in it. Like, the drums is a fascinating instrument because each of these is actually an instrument in itself. Like, this tom is an instrument. This other tom is another instrument. These cymbals are another instrument. This snare is another instrument. But it's the collection of these instruments that gives us a palette to work with to create a much more rich and different sound when we collect them, when we understand them together, when we give them a relationship. But what gives these things a relationship? It's the body that's playing them.
Yeah.
I'm the connector. I touch them all. That's how they become a kit. They can sit here next to each other, just like if I added a guitar, like leaning against the wall, they could be instruments sitting next to each other. But without a body connecting them, they're not really doing very much. One of my favorite things about drums, actually, sometimes called air cans, is that this is really just a way of holding air such that it vibrates at a certain pitch. And like, it's just holding a little air. It's just shaping a little air. It's so cool. So here's the thing. I asked you to note how all of these things are different. And that's a perspective that I introduced to you that I think is generally quite natural for us to look at things being different from each other, because it'll stand out. We'll really want to notice, like, oh, that's a high sound, that's a low sound. And I want to know, like, what each of them means, especially in the world, especially without the context of an artistic venue where an instrument might be played. But like, if I was walking out on my road and I heard a very high sound, it would mean very different things to me for just potentially what might be happening, what causes the sound, than a very low sound does out in the world. So the sounds themselves, again, there's no connection except the one that I'm making to experiences that I've had with high-pitched things, to what I expect might make a really low, rumbly sound. Like, I'm the person who's drawing the connection between them. I'm the thing that's making them have meaning. And the meaning is specific to me. So, okay, last week in my Tuesday night class, I was teaching about metaphor. And metaphor is just the equation. This equals that. There's a big equal sign in the middle, because you're never saying, oh, it's kind of like this. You're never like giving a long story as to how you might go from point A to point B. Like, how is a bone like a knife? Okay, well, a bone is like a knife because that's not metaphor. That's simile. I mean, we've learned this in our, high school grammar classes. When you add like or as, you're actually using a simile. But a metaphor is much bolder in that it just says, actually, this snare drum is my heartbeat. And now you have to figure out how those things go together. What is familiar? What is the same about those things? And the amazing thing is that your brain, as much as it is biased towards the negative, where it's looking for problems, it's looking for differences, it's looking for things that might be threats, you are also a human, which means that your brain is geared towards patterns of similarity, patterns of coherence. Those are also things that we're really excellent at noticing. And it just sometimes takes a little reminding that that is a skill, that that is a task, that you can look at the world and look for what is working, what is similar, what connects these things. And most often, or I would say all the time, at the heart of any of it, like, you are the connector, because you're the one perceiving it, thinking about it, noticing it. So even things that no one else can see a connection to, you perceiving those two things is automatically drawing a connection between them, which makes it totally fair for you to put that connection into your work. So the metaphor thing, this equals that. Here's how I want to play with it for a little bit of drawing, because yeah, I'm sitting at a drum kit, but you all aren't sitting at drum kits. And also I don't really know how to play the drums. So I don't have, we're not doing a drum lesson. Like that's not what's happening. So what I'm going to offer you instead is to choose an object from your space right now, something that is around you that you see, and like it's just going to be thing one. It's going to be your this. So I'm looking at a chair right now. I might like put the chair into that part of the equation. I like using my hands for this. I'm not sure why. I think because it's like, here is one visual example of, you know, I could write a word on my palm and be like, chair, this is my this. And then here's the that. The that is going to be something. Actually, we're going to flip this around. Your object is going to be your that. Okay, and I'm going to give you something else for the this in just a moment. I just want to make sure that you're like comfortable choosing an object. And if you think of something else, you want to change your mind for the object, like there's no rules about this. Please don't think that I'm restricting you. It's just an idea. We're going to pursue the idea for a second. So whatever object you've located in your room, like I located this chair, and I can look right at it. So that's what we're doing here is I want something that I can observe, that I can practice noticing. You were just noticing sounds with me, but now you're going to notice something that you can look at. You're going to notice it with your eyes. You're going to notice things like its shape, its color. Maybe its shapes actually have points of like intersection, like my chair has pieces to it, and there's like joints. You might notice joints in your object. Does your object have color, multiple colors? Does it have texture? What purpose does it serve? This is another way to observe a thing. It's not just like what you can see at a distance, but understanding the meaning of the thing, the use of the thing. Asking yourself those questions, like a layer deeper. I'm going to invite you to go a layer deeper than saying, like in my example, a chair is for sitting on. And I'm going to say what the chair does is make a surface that can support you, or that can support weight, because it doesn't have to be you either. We're going to go like further away from the most average use of the thing and more into what are its qualities, what can it do, what can it be used for. Look for these things, take some time to observe it. And if you need a reminder of all those things that you're looking for, I think that is what the note taking is for. So you can always check that out.
Should we draw it?
If you want to, you're welcome to. And you don't have to, because maybe for you, taking notes in the form of like a point form list would make more sense, but you're welcome to draw it and try to notice those things, try to emphasize those things. Oop. You might want to also think about things that you would experience with your senses about the object. Like, does it have a smell? Does it have a particular hardness, softness? Like I said, texture before, but that can go further. Like, do you know what the material is and what qualities the material has? How smooth is it? How heavy is it? These are ways of noticing. We're just noticing our that. I want you to have a second. But when you're ready, we're gonna populate this equation where that is the object, and this is gonna be a feeling or an experience, something intangible. So for me, in the feeling category, I'm looking for like maybe just an emotion. My this could be loneliness, could be anger, sadness. I don't know. It could be just an emotion, but it could also be an experience where there's maybe like a little sequence of emotion, like the last day of camp. You're like, I was having so much fun at camp and I'm having fun on the last day, but there's like sadness coming and saying goodbye to people. All of that might be wrapped up in that experience that's going to make your this. So if you want, it can be something simple that can be easier to approach, that can be just more straightforward to approach. Like, okay, I'm gonna make my this in our equation of metaphor be hope.
So is
And
that
then if you want, oh, sorry, Tom. Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you have something else in mind, like if you're having an experience, for example, maybe like you're home for the holidays and you're like, this is complicated, like happy, sad, happy, hard, loving this, nostalgia, also painful moments. Like you can make it complicated if that works for you. I don't require simplicity, but I'm giving you lots of options.
I drew and noticed a little electrical outlet, which has so many interesting connotations, right? It connects you to this grid on the outside. It gives you energy. It also, also looks like a face, but
That too, yeah.
um, it's a portal, right? And a little connector. So any of these, when you're thinking like when you're saying these emotions and stuff, suddenly I'm thinking like, oh, any of these are like energizing or energizing potentials for me. So I have to choose. So should we just choose one on our own?
Yeah, absolutely. You just choose one because what we're doing is populating this equation, and you can like just throw something in there and then dive into figuring out what it is. Or you can something in there and then realize, actually, this is going to be too hard. I think I've got a better fit and switch it out. But here's the equation. This is that. So if my emotion was hope and my object was a chair, the equation now reads, hope is a chair.
Mm.
And now I have to figure out what the hell that means.
Right. So hope becomes this thing that supports weight, right? What does that mean?
If you want, this is where your creative patterned brain, your pattern recognizing brain will start to just fill that void. Like if you're sitting out here in the world, you're like, I don't know how hope has anything to do with a chair. But if I just tell you, no, hope is a chair, then you're like, ooh, how? Okay, what the hell does that mean? Let me think about that. Is it a chair? Let me think about that. And you might have things like you, Tom, that come to mind where you're like, oh, we were talking about how the chair supports weight. Maybe hope supports weight. The weight in our lives, the weight of challenges, hope supports us in that. Maybe the chair is reliable and a structure and also something that exists in your home, but you have to choose to sit in it to experience it. I'm like, maybe hope is something you have to choose to sit in. You have to go to it. You have to let it hold you.
You have to choose to sit in hope. That's wonderful. Should we draw this?
Here's the thing. I don't know how you would draw hope, but that's your job. This is now your job. I've given you the job to bring an experience or an emotion to this equation. My favorite. I love this hand position that I get to do with this. To this equation. And you get to figure out how to convey these things together. One of my favorite ways to do it is just to like make a drawing of the object and a drawing that represents the thing and put them like right on top of each other, such as like I can't see how to pull these apart anymore and I have to allow them to fit together. It could also be that you draw a little comic. I love the idea of like a 4-panel comic where you're showing the relationship between the two. And maybe it's like you have a drawing for the emotion and over the panels it transforms into a chair. The chair is my object. Maybe you have like the chair sitting there and you're like talking about what hope means. And then in the last panel you sit in the chair. Like, I don't know, you get to do whatever you want. Like this is a core for just making a straight on visual metaphor that you define, that you populate with meaning because you are the connector between those things. Like maybe hope is a drum and the chair is a drum, and when I'm playing them together, you get it. But when they're just sitting here separately, like, who cares?
Cool. What, should we do that for 10 minutes or something, or
Yeah,
what?
I was gonna say, I feel like it could be 10, it could be a little more. I was gonna ask you if you do, if we'll sort of be on mute and have like quiet drawing time. I would be happy to be in the chat so that I can like answer any additional questions about what I'm asking you to do, given that it's a little wacky. What's a good way for us to have the time to draw and still feel like we're in a thing together?
Um, yeah, that works. I mean, me personally, I like the drums. Like,
Oh my God.
I think
Play the drums.
especially, yeah, but I don't know if everyone feels that way. But I feel like 10 minutes of like gentle drum music would be kind of awesome.
I would
Um,
love to do that. I don't know how it's going to come through with the crazy sound stuff. So
that might
I'm
be a
just going to,
like, right. So like it won't, like, we're pretty sure it won't be overbearing.
right. Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It
Yeah.
might be oddly
Well,
atmospheric.
I'll just mess around over here for 10 minutes. And then if you don't hear anything, then you don't hear anything. That's fine. If you want to mute it because you're hearing things and it's uncomfortable, we're going to be back in 10 minutes. So you know when to come back. It'll be okay. And yeah, I'm down to just see what happens. So yeah, thank you for just giving me a little opportunity to sit here messing around with, I guess, minimal stakes. So 10 minutes, you'll just you'll make a metaphor. What's really interesting about the drums is that you actually need to bring your arms up very high. And there's not a lot of activities in life where that's required, like this big. Oh, 10 minutes on the dot. How's the drawing going?
I'll ask. How's the drawing going, everybody? You can put it in the chat. And
Yeah.
I feel like, Georgia, if people want to share, now would be a good time to start.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, what'd you experience? What'd you get from it? What did you like? What did you draw? I'm like here for literally anything. All of it.
I'm gonna finish mine.
Yeah. I also don't know how to do the controls here, so Tom, I'm gonna leave it up to you to like make the sharing possible. I think
Sure.
we did 3 last time, and I guess it depends on how much time we have.
What? Sorry, what?
I think last time we had 3 people who were like talking, sharing, as well as the typing, but I don't know about time and all that.
Yeah, I don't know. Anybody who would like to share, I'll start to get it going a little bit, but anybody who'd like to share,
Totally.
well, yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. Raise your Zoom hand, and maybe those of you who are finishing up, you can finish up while we share. I'm just reading a couple things in the chat. I've been rearranging our living room to make room for our solstice bush. Okay, Mishka, I don't know what that's to. Okay, anyway, I I use these Friday night workshops as a chance to do something I normally wouldn't do. And I also like, since I'm moderating, I'm not always thinking the things I might normally think, right? So in finding my this, and it's like emotional or it's a feeling or something, the only thing I can think of, actually the only thing I can think of in all of December, January, February is how cold I am. So that was my this.
Yeah. Great.
And
Being
my,
cold. Yeah.
oh, I hate it. And my that was this little outlet. And so I did something I never would have done, which was inspired by what you said, which is that, and I know from your work that you do draw things on top of one another sometimes. Oh, I'm gonna have to turn off my background. Um, um, and so, sorry, there we go. I guess I'll spotlight myself, and then we have some other people willing to show after that. Let's see.
Awesome. Yeah.
So I didn't do very much, but I did sort of go outside my normal comfort zone a little. So that's cold over top of the outlet that I drew. But then I thought, okay, let's try it as a comic where I wrote the cold, what does that say, is a portal to power. So so there's me cold. And it's very hard for me to figure out how to draw cold because I keep wanting to draw my head really tiny and my shoulders big, but I never really get it right. But they're sort of approaching this outlet and then just going through the outlet. And then on the other side, just having a little more freedom, on through the outlet. I don't, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
I love that. Because I feel like, I mean, this is what I love about this stuff, because you would never think to try to draw that, but you communicated something. And that's really what metaphors are doing, right? Like they're communicating something that we don't want to say in the average way, but we really want you to feel. So it's this weird, sneaky way of being like, it's going to be something we've all felt before, but I'm going to say it in a new way. And that's going to bring you to somewhere you never thought to go. Like Tom maybe never thought to think of cold as an outlet to power or freedom until just now.
Right. I'll have to think about it a little longer. But the great thing about some of these experiments for me for these Friday nights is I go back and I look over time and I realize that there are all these like little bits of language of comics and visual language that I've explored that I can use somehow. And so anyway, we've got some other people who'd like to share with Nancy, Tony, and Kate, and I'll ask them to unmute and then I'll share and I'll replace the spotlight. Hi, Nancy.
Hi. Okay. Well, I do a can of air freshener.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm creating an ad here for the air freshener for Glade. But I came up with air freshener is peace. And I was thinking about, because of the drawing on the can, a day when I was in an art class when I was like in 6th grade or something. And we had to go outside and draw the school, and it was an autumn day, and it was just like a really beautiful, warm day. And then, of course, there's the kids who are doing the assignment, and there's some boys over there wrestling in front of the school. So
Right.
Beautiful. Fun.
I love that.
Thanks, Nancy. Okay, we'll go to
Yeah.
welcome.
you.
next. Tony, there you go. You should be able to unmute. Oops. Even though you're unmuted, we can't hear you, Tony.
Okay, try again.
Yeah, now we
Hey.
can. Great.
Okay, yeah, it's mute's on the microphone. So, I was feeling really ridiculously hungry coming into this,
Oh.
but this is just
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That.
and that's I was actually going up to over on the shelf there. I have my original teddy bear.
Okay.
But I knocked down this piece of rescue line from whitewater throw bag from a friend of mine who passed away on a whitewater trip in New Zealand. And
Wow.
this was one of his, this was some of the, something that I got from that. So the, yeah.
That's
Really
amazing.
So that's, so it's kind of the eye there. Oh.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Wow.
wasn't sure what else to do with that other than one panel. So that was just a.
That's enough. Yeah. It's enough.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks.
Really wonderful, Tony. Thank you.
Mhm.
Sorry about that. We'll go to Kate next and then Sarah. And Kate, you're muted. You should be able to.
Well,
Echoing?
Oh, hang
yeah.
This is so
on.
okay.
Wait,
Sorry.
hold on.
Chorus.
Okay, I muted you for a second, Kate. I think, you're logged on twice, so I'm going to kick the other
Oh.
Kate off if that's okay. And I think that's the problem.
Yeah, that's feedback.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's really that's reverb
though. Wait, I'm going to ask you to unmute, and then I'm
almost.
going to kick the other one off, the other Kate one.
Test.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
I think I kicked her.
You did.
oh, you're still there. No, it's perfect now.
Oh, you are there. Oh, good. Wait, now we got to get her
testing.
back.
Testing.
You're great.
Okay. I can't see myself though. So I think I could see if my page was in focus.
There we
Okay, I
go.
see myself. Thank you.
There we go. Sure.
This has been a very weird meeting. It like I had palm trees behind me. I mean pine trees behind me, and now I just see my studio. Anyway, let's see if we can see the art. This didn't really gel for me, but I enjoyed it. I'm always making weird connections anyway, because we were making notes about the drums.
Yeah.
So we were starting to draw, said to make notes on the drums. So here they are.
Yeah.
Drums there. Hi-hat.
Oh wow.
You see this hat is high because it's smoking. And a snare is like a trap. So snare, bass. And then because I couldn't hear the tom, that was silence.
That's kind of amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, this is actually just kind of ink wash with a brush. Yeah, it's really pretty thin down ink. That's what I'd grabbed. And okay, then you said to find an object that was here. So they were here, these scissors. But I'd filled up pretty much the whole page. So, and then the suggestion of the 4 panels sort of anchored me a little bit. So I got this really like non-successful metaphor, but drew what's on my mind. The emotion is holiday tension.
Yeah, good one.
And it is kind of sort of square and stupid. And it is not very much like a muskox.
Oh, interesting. That's so cool. Very interesting direction to took that.
Yeah, because in my studio there, I just happened to be looking at my muskox drawing. So anyway, holiday tension is not very much like a muskox. There you go. This was
Wonderful.
Thanks, Kate.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing. I am all for people just doing their own thing. So if something is like not quite working for you, you can just do whatever you want. I'm like, that's great.
Awesome. We'll go to Sarah next. Thanks so much, Kate. Here we go.
Oh yeah, sorry, we lost you there.
Cool. I'm looking at two things right now. So I'm looking at my electric fireplace in front of me, and also I'm attending Friday night workshops. So
Yeah.
those are my two things. So you
Aw.
combine them both and you feel the warmth.
That's beautiful.
Although it does kind of look like you're on fire, but that wasn't my intention.
I mean, I also look pretty cozy about it, so it's like not a bad fire. That's fantastic. Wow.
I'll
thank
keep
you.
working on it.
Sure.
It does look like you're cooking, Georgia. It looks like you're in-
Right. It's just like pots that
Yeah.
I'm like.
Thanks so
Everything is
much.
everything else. It's fine.
Thanks so much, Sarah. We'll go to Byron next. Here we go.
I really love the idea of I am the connection between these two unrelated things or objects or ideas. So this came up with radio. I was drawing a radio and
Okay.
loneliness, so it came out as radio loneliness.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, even just those two words together, they evoke so much already. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
it's really
you.
wonderful. Thank you, Byron. Okay, we'll go to Marlene next and then Rachel.
Okay.
Hi,
Marlene.
everyone. Oh, I'm just going to unblur myself. Sorry, Tom, you caught me
Okay.
Caught you on the beach.
I'm going to go away from the beach. So yeah, what I've got,
Here you are.
I try to sort of, get everything together.
Yeah.
And what I heard was the first one, number one, I heard a feathery, soft tone.
Cool.
And yeah, I saw a bird flying in the air, just having fun, scooping around and looking around the escarpment very high up in the sky. And so I suddenly felt to feel light myself along with the bird as we went along. And then the second one, yeah, I heard a swishing sound and someone shuffling along, and all of a sudden people were shopping.
Oh,
Can you see that? Or
yeah.
you can see
Oh.
Yeah.
there is a person sitting at the cash register
Yes.
waiting
Yeah.
for the shoppers to come forward. And the lady with the baby in the shopping trolley is talking to her son to behave in line. And so that swishing sound reminds me of shuffling along when you do shopping. The circle in the middle represents how I see the four of them. I'd like to talk about the drama I
Mhm.
think it's this one. Can you see that?
Number
Trying my best.
number 3.
Yeah,
Yeah, number
yeah,
3.
yeah. I see
The
it.
third one is the drama. And I love to watch Tuba Skinny. They are
Okay.
in New Orleans. I don't know if you've heard of them. It's
No.
like a street band that plays music.
Mhm.
And there is a trumpeter, a tuba player, and so on, and a drummer. And what I heard was that doof, doof, doof sound, which reminds me of a marching band. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I put a hat on his head to make him look like a cool drummer. And it's more like a marching band taking off. And they are playing When the Saints, oh, when the
Mm,
Saints go
yeah.
marching in one. Then
Awesome.
the next one, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
I couldn't. Maybe I should use this one because that was my draft.
Mm,
The pencil sharpener caught my eye on my desk,
yeah.
and so it felt smooth to me. It represents usefulness to sharpen my pencil. You can have a choice. There are options to sharpen your pencil. It's shiny and bright and very functional. And so just going to swap. When I think of the 4 bits, they all represent exploration, adventure, and fun to me, all 4 of them. So there's
Oh,
a
cool.
feeling of exuberance and adventure.
Yeah.
So thank you, Georgia and Tom, for this opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing with us.
Pencil sharpener is a great thing to bring in. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
happy summer.
Yeah, same to you.
Okay, we'll go to Rachel next. Here we go.
Hi.
Hi.
So I was staring at obviously my tissue box. And I was imagining instead of everything coming together, things separating. And so that's supposed to be a tissue flying, and then
Yeah.
the tears falling, and then the plant from the tissue box is capturing the tears, because I was thinking of a tissue box meaning compassion.
Oh, yeah. That's lovely.
Oh,
Yeah. It's a beautiful little abstract thing that has a lot of feeling in it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
great,
Thanks for
Rachel.
sharing.
Thank you. All right, we'll go to Elias and then Andrew.
Okay.
Here we go.
Hi. This is a little bit of a bummer, but I'm going to keep it PG. I was looking at a loudspeaker, and I
Okay.
decided that depression is a loudspeaker.
Yeah.
It takes a signal, and
Mm.
the words "you're wrong" are going through the little wire into the
Yeah.
speaker and fills the whole. And there are a lot of other, non-PG things I could have put, in that wire.
Yeah. That's a good choice.
Fills the whole room with it.
Mm.
Inescapable.
Yeah. That's a great metaphor.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Elias.
Bummers are okay.
Don't worry about me.
All right, we'll go to Andrew next.
Okay.
Hey all. So I was looking at my Jaguars hat,
Nice.
and so my dad and I we're Eagles fans, and so we text because I live in Jacksonville and he lives in Philadelphia. So on Monday or on Sunday I wore my Eagles hat, and then on Monday I wore my Jaguars hat.
Oh, yeah.
And then on Tuesday we were all depressed. because both of them lost. And so yeah, what I was kind of fiddling with was my dad and myself, and then myself and my son, and then kind of flipping their relationship between these hats, sort of this idea of like wearing multiple hats. And so for us, these teams become this connective point between myself and my dad and my son, because we're all sort of spread out in all these sort of distances. So I was kind of playing around with just that sort of simple thing of, being identified with those teams, win or lose, they're sort of about being together with those things. So
Yeah, that's great.
Did you read that fourth panel, Andrew? I saw that.
Oh, sorry. It says, on Sunday night, I wore my Eagles hat. On Monday night, I wore my Jaguars hat. On Tuesday, we were all disappointed. On Tuesday, we were all a bit closer.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So thanks, Georgia. That was terrific. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for coming and sharing.
Thanks for
I
coming.
love that.
Michael's got his hand up, and Edgar. I'm going to go to Edgar first so that we can finish with Michael, who can tell us about next week as well. So Edgar.
Oh, great. That'd be great.
Well, thank you. Can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm in a parking lot in the dark, so I have a nice spooky appearance. I
Wow.
would like to thank Georgia for the inspiration. Just your drum set immediately set off a story in my mind, and so I started to draw it. And it's very wordy, but let me show it to you.
Okay.
And if you need to stop, and go to Michael, please do. It's called Fraser's Drum Sets Last Hurrah.
Okay.
Forecast Blues Band, 1968 to 1976, with Fraser, Donnie Miller, and Rick something. There's Fraser sitting at the drum set. I can't remember if it's Rogers or Ludwig, but he had zillion cymbals, which is a big deal in those days. They practiced a lot, but never performed. They made one recording of a practice onto a cassette tape and promptly forgotten. Fraser went off to college at NYU in September 1976. My parents packed all of Fraser's drum set into several big cardboard cartons under the ghost basement. Some of you will remember the ghost basement from last week, I think. There you see the big cartons where it stayed unused and overlooked until 2006. When Edgar III approached Orson Welles' Mercury actor Arthur Anderson and his wife Alice about reconstructing the lost 1938 radio version of Welles' Julius Caesar, and here you see Fraser and me at breakfast with Arthur and his wife Alice. Now here's the big.
Yeah.
Wait, can you still see it? Oh, here it is. Okay, let's see. This is the big type. After Edgar III received from Arthur a multi-generation copy cassette of the Caesar dress rehearsal, Edgar III spent 3 days reconstructing the Bernard Herrmann conducting the Mark Blitzstein score. Arthur approved and authorized me, or Edgar III, to reconstruct the 70-minute script. And then Edgar had 2 secret goals: to give Arthur his chance to sing and play his lute to Brutus's Orpheus with his lute, which Orson Welles cut out from the actual national broadcast. 2, Edgar III wanted Fraser to have one last time to play his drums for our production. And here's Edgar unpacking the drum set and seeing all the damage, seeing the drum skins that had dried and broken.
Yeah.
In a hot basement in the summertime, we sweated and recorded drum cues. There's Fraser pounding for several cues on one of the drums that wasn't broken. Edgar with his headset on as producer, and there's the cassette deck that's recording the music. Finally, October 2006, Arthur directs his cast on stage. I'm Edgar. Edgar is portraying H.V. Kaltenborn, the CBS News commentator, and that's a big story in itself. Fraser was selected to be a Mercury actor for a day to play Decius Brutus and Citizen Number 3.
Wow.
Fraser's drum cues heard by 400 people in a ballroom. The last hurrah for Fraser's drum set. I thank you.
Wow, thank you. You're speedy. You did all that in the last like 40 minutes.
I know it was hard. It was hard, and it's like a first sketch. Maybe I'll go back and redraw it, but I never would have thought of it except for you playing at the drums and giving us suggestions. So thank you,
That's
Georgia.
wild. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely, I'm very happy.
Another epic. Thank you, Edgar. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope I didn't take too much time.
It's
You're
all
on.
right. We love it. All right, I'm gonna go to Lentil Tricky if they're there, and then I'm gonna go to Michael, and then we'll
Okay.
close out. I gotta get Lentil to come on screen.
I was gonna try to screen share again, but I always have trouble. I'm gonna try.
Yeah. All right, hang on. I can let you. There you go.
Okay.
Give it a try, Lentil.
Did I do it?
Yep.
Oh, I did it. Cool. I've been feeling very hidey lately, so hiding is a wood stove, and then I kind of just wrote, it leaves me feeling safe and warm, but really I'm alone. I want to do it all myself. I want to split my wood. I want to light the fires and tend them very good. But it's kind of, doesn't give you the results you want. I don't know. It feels sad.
Oh, that's beautiful though.
Totally. And it rhymes.
One rhyme. I squeezed a rhyme in there.
Oh, it's really marvelous. This is a good reminder for everybody to share these on social media too. That lets us see it a little longer. And I'm going to put that in the chat, y'all. And Lentil, I think that's really beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Okay. And I'm going to go to Michael now. There we go. Whoops. I got to. Whoops.
Am I unmuted?
Michael, are you, yeah, you're spotlight too.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
So just as a disclaimer, I didn't understand this exercise at all. So if Georgia really likes people just doing their own thing, I started drawing the gargoyle on my desk.
Whoa.
I'm sure there's a metaphor in here somewhere. Maybe it's for a neurodivergent guy who just couldn't understand the exercise. That's the metaphor. But I was like, why did I write down these sounds? So I'm going to put them in my picture, damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, are those the drum sounds?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
cool.
And then I just start to mix them up. But
I think you do great
That's
things on these Friday nights. That's really cool.
yeah, when I don't understand something, it does feel like lightning bolts are shooting out of my head. So
Wow. Stay on, or stay nearby. I'll ask you about the Friday night next week after we go to Anita, okay?
that's my
Awesome.
problem.
It's like a little companion.
Yeah. And that's a metaphor, because he's chained. I think it's called the guardian of hopes and dreams.
Oh.
But he's not, but he's chained. All right, Michael, we'll come back.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we're gonna go to Onita. Hey, Onita.
Hi, you guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm on the phone. Okay, sorry. Okay, so here is me after a stressful day. And one of the drum sounds, it sounded like static through the phone. So like I thought of like a kind of a kinetic feeling, not being able to relax. And then for the metaphor, I picked my pillow, my fluffy pillow equals relaxation.
Yeah.
And then I went to the only way I can relax is if I become a pillow for my dog. And so that's what that is. And then the cloudy part was another one of the sounds from the drum kit. It just kind of sounded kind of buoyant and fluffy.
Amazing.
So That's mine. Thank you. This was really fun and so like weird non sequitur. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah. Thanks for coming and sharing.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Thanks.
That looks great, Anita. I love that last image. I hope you'll share
Oh,
that.
thank you. Yeah, here, I'll show it to you then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. And then like I couldn't think through the whole thing. I was stuck. And then I drew this in the last 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know, it just like couldn't coalesce, but then it finally did. So
Awesome. Thanks, Anita.
yeah.
I'm getting a message from it's through the ether from Nikki. I don't know if Nikki wants to share, and then we'll finish up with Michael. Nikki, you have 5 seconds. 4, 3. All right, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna assume that's not happening. All right. So anyway, well, first of all, I want to sign off with Georgia in a moment. But Michael, will you take a moment and tell us about next week? I'll spotlight you.
Why, yes, Tom, I'd love to.
Thanks.
Next week, we're going to do what will hopefully be a special, maybe 3 times a year, 3, 4 times a year, reading series where people from the SAW community or friends of SAW will read their comics, kind of like a beatnik happening kind of thing. And we're asking people to take an extra step, adapt their comics to this format, make it a little more multimedia, a little more dynamic. So we have 7 brave volunteers. And I hope you'll join us. Kind of a goodbye to 2023 party as well. And just celebrating each other and the comics we've been making.
What are you doing?
Yeah, awesome. It's going to be great. We have, yeah, 7 readers, and they've been working to make it a cool presentation that's going to be this. Yeah, great. And it'll be our goodbye to 2023. Thanks, Michael. All right, I'm going to replace, put Georgia back on. Georgia, thank you so much. And look
Thanks
at
for
that
having
dog. That dog looks heavy.
He's only about 30 pounds, but he's clinging to me for dear life right now. Why are you so out? Just sit. Sit. There you go. There you go.
I want to thank you for coming out on the coldest night of the year and sitting behind the drums. I actually had forgotten that that I asked you to do that.
Say that. Yes. You did ask me to do a lesson behind the kit, so here we go.
I remember I just thought it was a way to sort of counter the sort of depression that some of the dark nights sometimes bring for us. I just thought it was a little, but I forgot that I had asked that. So I'm glad you followed through. Thank you for acknowledging that and not protesting, or giving it such an interesting take. And I'm so enamored with your comics. I'm so enamored with all the ways that you bring that you find new ways to bring our humanity to the comics page and to volumes. And I just think it's really remarkable. And you're a great teacher, and I really appreciate it. I'm going to ask everyone to unmute. Do you have a book, or you want to tell anybody about anything? I know you're doing a lot of teaching in January, and it's quote free in January, right? Do you want to tell people that or not?
Yeah, totally. So I actually do this thing. I started it just this year as an experiment, and I think I'm going to keep going because it went pretty well, where I teach online 2 classes every week, just all year long. And then I just change the subjects as I go. So I'm always teaching on Tuesday nights and on Saturday mornings. I teach drawing health, which is like a health and comics class, because I think that we need to feel healthy in our relationship to our work in order to do it for our whole lives. And then on Tuesday nights, I teach like comics topics and skills under the name Drawing the Inside Out. I did a little writing about my teaching that's in a zine that you can buy through SAW or on my website. My website is really the best place to find everything. I'm redoing my website right now, so it's about to be totally different. But in this experiment of teaching every week all year, I make January a month where all the teaching is free, so that people who want to just try it out and see if it's for them have the option without pressure or commitment. And then after that, there's like subscription fee, and I'm figuring out how to have people buy like single classes and stuff. So if you like want even more teaching of comics in your life, that's what I do. Like SAW's got it all. I'm also out here doing it. So yeah, feel free to check that out.
I'm really
Find
glad.
me anytime.
I'm really glad we're partnered. And At some point,
Yeah.
you'll have to check out the recording to hear how those drums sounded, because it was really interesting how there's like a
Yeah.
little blurry digitalness to it. Anyway, all right, I'm going to ask you all to unmute and to thank Georgia and everybody. If you have an upcoming holiday to celebrate, I wish you well. If it is warm out, I'm glad for you. If it's cold out, I wish you well. Anyway, thank you so much, Georgia. I hope
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Georgia.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Tom.
Thank you.
Holidays, Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
See you next week for a comics reading.
Drum on.
Yeah. Next week.
Everybody.